What's up, guys? You got Mr. Proud here, Mr. Matthew Proud himself. What'd you just do?
All right, man, I just got 5th place at this Tulsa regional with Kidku, nonetheless. Like, I actually freaking love this deck. I'm super hyped that I was able to do well with it. I thought I was gonna come in there, I thought I was gonna scrub out. Honestly, I have an Icarus deck, but I just didn't feel like running the Icarus deck. Like, I figured that everybody was gonna be running that deck, which if you looked at what happened in all the other regionals over this weekend, like 8 Icaruses were topping every single time. So then I was like, this is my love child, I love this deck. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna play some Kidku. So we can just go straight into the deck. First off, we're gonna start with the bread and butter of it, basically how this leader works. On this side, both sides, basically your draw power comes from the 4-star ball. So you are hard mulliganing for this. If you don't see these cards, one of these 8 cards in your opening hand, you just are probably gonna lose the game. You're gonna have a very bad time. Because basically what you do on this side, you reveal your balls to your opponent, and then you get +5 and you get to draw a card on this side. On the awakened side, you reveal your ball and you get to draw 2 and then drop 1. So you are cycling through your deck pretty heavy. And with this package, you basically always have like 12 cards in hand. Like you have a pretty big hand size the entire time.
And there was the meme that was going around in the room of showing people your balls.
Yeah, because as you might have seen in a different video, we mentioned this. We did stay up until 3 in the morning play testing all of this and getting everything ready. So then I kept just being like, dude, look at my ball. And I would reveal my ball and be like, no, you have to look at it. I can't draw unless you look at my ball. Look at my balls, bro. So then we go into the skillless package, Son Goku. There are some people I've seen try and run this deck with different colors, but for the most part, I've only really liked the red version of Kidku because specifically of this interaction right here, which I actually only run 4 skillless, like 4 1-drop skillless in this entire deck. So this one, Bonds of Friendship, Android 8. You basically play this, it's just a searcher on play. You look at the top 7, look for a skillless card. But the real good interaction that you want is that once it's on the field, every single time a skillless Son Goku childhood, it doesn't need to be skillless, but just whenever a Son Goku childhood leaves the field, like leaves the battle area, you just get to KO a card on your opponent's side of the field. So even if you combo this card away, you still get to KO something on their side of the field. It doesn't need to die or anything, it's literally just whenever it leaves the battle area. So this is a very good interaction because of this card that I'm about to bring up in a second, where you can actually combo this card in rest mode anyways. So you're just constantly clearing their board while applying pressure.
So why only 4 skillless though?
Yeah, I only run 4 skillless because this deck is already 53 cards. So there's there's a lot in it. And I've used to run 6 skillless, but I would never really want the other 2 skillless because you can only run 4 Goku anyways. Like this is all you really want. And with another card that I'm gonna bring up, even if they warp this card, they think they get rid of it, it always can come back, like in the red variation. So then we also go to run this Unison. This is the best freaking Unison ever. I love this Unison so much. Play it for 1. Who cares about Zamasu the Eliminator? I dare you to tap 2 energy to put this back in my hand. I'll play it again, which did come up. That happened. That literally happened. So Zamasu eliminated it. Let's play it again. And then I was like, okay, you don't have the blue energy now. So then I swing with it. 10k. This gets your opponent down to 4 life instantly. You need to know what you're playing, but if you are playing against a blue deck that likes to just kind of chill, sit there, they're not really worried about awakening too early, you can pressure them down to 4 life or 3 life in like turn 2. And normally people just kind of take the life, they're like, oh, I'm good, I'm chilling, okay, yeah, like it's fine. Until they realize, wait a second, I'm at 3 life on turn 2 or 3. And that's when it starts hitting them like, maybe I should have defended some of those weenie swings. So yeah, the -2 actually came up to this is the first time I've ever used the -2, was this tournament.
I didn't know there was a -2.
Yeah, nobody really knows about the -2. The -2 is actually, if you have 2 skills in the drop, you can shuffle those skills back in and draw 2 cards. So most of the time, all you're doing is you're swinging with it, -1, play 2 Goku from your deck or drop area, and then that's it. So you just like -1, that goes in the drop, and then you bring out the 2 Son Goku skillless. And that's really what it's for, and that's why you want 4 of them. As opposed to this one, I used to run this at 4, but I actually dropped this card down to 3 because in this current format, I usually only resolve 2 of these. It's actually kind of unsafe because unlike the Unison, Zamasu the Eliminator, hitting this feels so bad. So this one you tap 2. This is the best interaction ever. If you have this on the field, oh, you are in good spirits. Because basically you tap 2, play this, you can pull a life if you want to, which I actually use pretty often, because you just more cards in your hand is better. So then I play this, brings out 2 skillless, and now you can swing with this, drop ball on this card, and then you swing with this skillless. Now you can combo skillless in rest mode because of this thing's permanent, and you can also combo this thing even though it's in rest mode. That's its permanent. A lot of people don't realize that, so they'll just like try and kill off these things while they're in rest mode, but then I can also just combo this anyways. But also every single time you're comboing these skillless with this card out, you're also clearing your opponent's board. So that is like the main reason why I play red version of Kidku. There's really no reason to play any other version of it. And then we have this 2 of. I haven't seen Kidku decks too often, but this card came out and it immediately made me want to play Kidku again, because this is a 25k double strike that whenever it swings, you get to summon a 2-drop skillless, which is why I actually don't play any 3-drop skillless in my deck. I actually just play 4 of the 2-drop skillless, because when this card swings, you bring this out and it gets plus 5k, which is very important because that makes this a 25k red card, which allows you to go into the best card. This is actually the MVP of the deck.
MVP.
This is actually the MVP.
The one of the SCR of the deck.
This is the real SCR. This SCR is freaking busted. Like, that's why they limited it to 1, but you can't stop Kidku from summoning Heartfelt Plea. Literally, I've summoned Heartfelt Plea 4 times. Just because it's a 1-of does not mean that you won't see it. Because what you have to consider in skillless is that you're actually thinning your deck a lot by grabbing balls constantly, and you're going through all your skillless. So you actually cycle through your deck pretty well, as on top of drawing a decent amount. So I usually would always see Heartfelt. Like, there were some games you obviously don't see it all the time. It's a 1-of. But yeah, this actually came out pretty clutch, and this actually won me 3 games. Like, just this card by itself. Very powerful. So then we got 3 of Son Goku True Fighting Spirit. This card is actually bonkers. If you have a Black Saiyan leader, every single time your opponent activates a counter, warp a card. There was a time when I was against a blue set 7 Zamasu player, and I had all 3 of these out on the field at the same time. And he kept trying to stop me. He kept trying to floodgate me with like Flying Nimbus or like other cards. So every single time he's activating a counter, I was like, okay, warp 3. So eventually he just didn't have a hand. So this card is very good.
Why not the Vegeta fighting against True Fighting Spirit?
I actually would have sideboarded those at the very least, but I did not have any Vegeta True Fighting Spirits. So
should have asked him.
Yeah, I should have just asked for them. I wasn't thinking about it. Luckily, I didn't go against, I only went against 1 blue player.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can have those.
Yeah, I was like, this is what I should have at least sideboarded, because I don't think this is like worthy of running in the main board in Kidku. But in a second, I don't even know if I'll show you my sideboard. My sideboard was actually a freaking joke. This should have been in the sideboard. Yeah. This is the card that allows you to actually play skillless, because most of the time when you're playing skillless, if they warp your skillless, there's literally no way to get it back. But then when this card came out, I was like, freaking poggers, let's go. Universe Force Symbol, you can get it from you can get 2 skillless from your drop area or your warp. And the warp is the thing that comes up most often. And I've never really seen people run it at 3. The main reason I run it as 3 is because I always want to see this card. If anything, it just gets you 2 more skillless from your drop area. But a big thing is that you can also charge it. Because I was literally at 2 in the morning, I was like, I need more red cards in this deck. What is like more stuff? Because I had it at 2. So then I ended up just popping it to 3 just so I have red to charge. Because if you see my SCR, I'll show you my SCR in a second, you need 5 red energy to use your SCR. So you never want to charge black. We got 2 topo, really good floodgate. Especially right now, not everybody is running stuff to stop this, except for the 1 loss that I had today, which he was running Tyrannical Blow. I was so upset. Who main decks Tyrannical Blow in this format? So he hit my topo, and that felt really bad. I lost that game.
Why topo over Violent Rays?
Topo over Violent Rays because Violent Rays, you need a red leader. Then
too easy.
Yeah, I was like, the main reason why you don't have access, and I actually don't run any counterplays in this deck, is because you are a black leader playing a red deck. So there's not really anything for you. Like, there's not very many good counterplays or anything like that, or counterattacks for that matter. Because as you know, we can't even run Violent Rays. And then the next, this is a tech card. Basically, if you have 2 skills on board, tap 2 red energy, this comes out. This is a 20k crit, but the main thing is that it kills barrier cards, like 20k or less barrier cards. So this can take out Bojack, this can take out Lord Slug, this can take out that stupid Sun Goku, whatever. It's like the blue 2-drop Goku that says you can't swing with 2 drops or less cards, which just kind of shuts down your deck. So yeah, like you just have this. This never came up really. I think that I used it to kill a card that wasn't even barrier like one time, but I just ended up not going into that matchup. But if you are against like Lord Slug or anything, Lord Slug really hits your deck hard because you're pulling most of your cards from your deck. So yeah, like this, you need that card in your deck. And this is something I was upset about. I don't think I should have main decked this. I played Fu Shrouded in Mystery because it is a very good card, and sometimes decks, I mean, there's certain decks that can take you to turn 6 and everything like that. And if you usually will always have a board established in this deck. So tapping 6 when you already have a board, it feels pretty good. And then if you play this, you should win. But it never came up because I actually ended up finishing every single game by turn 4 or less. Because that's what you kind of want to do in this deck anyways.
Did you ever side it out?
Yeah, no, I always sided this out. Like this, I usually, because in my sideboard I have like a 3rd double strike, which is just another red card to like charge. So I usually always ended up sideboarding this out. So I would put this in the sideboard if you're against something like Hatchiak. Yeah, like that's when you would side it, or that's when you would side it in. And then we got 3 Powerburst. It's the best freaking black counter attack ever. I don't know why you wouldn't run this, especially in this deck, because you can use it to grab Android 8, or you can grab it, the Son Goku Adventure Begins, keep grabbing more balls, revealing your balls to your opponent. Good
Why not
stuff.
4?
I don't run 4 because there's not much room, and in this deck you are an aggro deck, so like drawing into this when you're trying to kill your opponent just feels bad because you can't charge this. I don't want to charge this card, and also like it's just kind of like an unusable card in your hand sometimes. Like sometimes you can break.
Would you consider going to 2?
I might even consider going to 2, especially in this format, because it's a lot slower. So I would consider going down to 2. I was like, I actually sided out my Powerburst like a couple times. Not every single, most of the time I would just keep it at 3 because it is good to have. But yeah, this one we're running this because, as I said, we're a black leader playing a red deck, so you also don't have very good super combos. So this one is a Sparking 5. You usually will have Sparking 5 by like turn 2, turn 3 at the latest. And then this gives you a draw, plus 10. But also it's good because you do have the plus 10 already inherently on the card. So that's like good to have.
A lot of people probably are like, why is he not using the Vegeta super combo? Why are you not using the Vegeta super combo?
Yeah, so if you don't know, like we only charge red. So you're gonna charge stuff like this sometimes. And with the Vegeta super combo, you need to have only black energy to be able to use it. Because most people don't remember that, because they inherently play like mono yellow, mono blue decks, but all of those like bottom deck draw 2 cards, you all need to have like a certain type of energy and only that energy to be able to play it. And you also need the leader as well. Your leader needs to be a certain color, I'm pretty sure. So it was like, I could play the Raditz possibly, but also I usually don't always get to 4 life, which is why I specifically play like the Temporal Rescue Trunks. Because with this leader, you can awaken at 6 life instead of 4. As long as you have a skillless in your drop area and you're at 6 life, you can just awaken. So I actually try and stay at high life for the most part. So I want my super combo to be live even though I'm not at 4 life. Then we got Iskai, Champa, whatever, you know, double strike. Putting double strike on something feels really good. This actually won me a game. There was a point, I feel very bad for this red Bardock player, but I had all 4 super combos and both of these in my hand. And I literally used this next card, which was, I run 2 Intensifying Power Trunks. I actually run 3, but I just didn't want to show you that I have 1 off color one. But yeah, so we run 3 Intensifying Power Trunks. But I played this, swung, and I got it up to like a weird number. It was like 30k, like with this. I put double strike on it. I made it like a weird number so that he felt weird about comboing, because he was like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna lose 2 cards, it's fine. He was at 4 life. So he crit the 2 life, and then I swung with leader, and then I proceeded to drop 3 super combos on the next one, because I already dropped 1 super combo on the Trunks. I dropped 3 super combos on my leader, and double strike, and then I literally comboed up to 100k, and he was not able to get out of it. So then I just killed him like right there. That was just super lucky, honestly.
Why Trunks over combo?
Because crit is more relevant. I don't know, crit just makes people think more. Double strike is good to take out unisons and stuff like that, but usually I end up not being too concerned with the opponent's unison because I'm trying to kill them turn 3.
Yeah.
But crit is just good because if cards don't go to their hand, like your one saving grace is that whenever you're summoning skillless, like whenever you do this, you're playing 3 cards for the price of 1. Like this only costs you 1 card out of your hand, and you get to have 3 on board. That's what people don't really think about when with card economy. Like whenever most people play a card, they're losing a card from their hand. So once they have an established board, that means that they've lost 5 cards out of their hand. But with this, you're literally summoning like 8 cards for like 4 cards instead, or like 3 cards, 4 cards. So you just have so much hand advantage usually that you just want to keep that hand advantage. So that's why I prefer intensifying power trunks over Kaba, because that just gives them 2 cards. And then this is the SCR. This card is actually goated. I did not realize how good this was going to be. This card literally won me 4 games, like 4 separate games. This is an SCR where it's a unison. You play for 4 red. That is why you need to charge only red, because you have to like tap red energy to play this card, and you want to play it on turn 5 if it gets to turn 5. Okay, so when this unison hits the board, it negs your entire opponent's board, minus 25k, ignoring barrier. So that's almost a board wipe most of the time. There's some like 30k is like 35k, so it's not going to get, but for the most part it'll clear your opponent's board. And then the -4 is really what you want it for. It's an activate main that if it gives this card triple strike and it gives it plus 15k. So that makes this a 40k dual attack triple strike, and you also get to restand at the end of the turn. So even after you swing both, you can just restand, and now this is a blocker still. So you can also take a hit, and the auto is a +1 where you can just minus 25k something that attacks, like on your opponent's side of the field. So that 8-drop Gogeta, minus the 25k, triple attack doesn't even matter anymore. It's like, okay, you're gonna swing at me with this 10k triple attack, who cares?
So for everybody, why did you pick this leader now instead of in an earlier format?
Alright, so I really like this deck, and I tried my hardest to play it before, but the meta just got so fast. Like the format was so quick, and there was a lot of turn 2 kill decks. There was like Reboot Gohan, King Vegeta, like there's so many things, and this deck isn't as quick as those decks, so you can't really keep up with that. So now it's a lot better pick because they basically got rid of all those. They like eroded everything, so now those decks don't exist as much. Like Majin Vegeta is not a thing anymore also. So now this deck can come in and you can feel a lot more comfortable. It's a slower format, so you can still apply pressure to slower decks, like even Kid Icarus, like anything that you can think like. And hand control doesn't hit you as hard because you can just drop 2 balls and then just grab those balls back. Like it doesn't hit you like that hard. And you're also drawing so much anyways. I usually would always have like 110k combo power at least in my hand, like when I needed it. So that's why I felt like it was a pretty good meta call. That's why I really wanted to take it there, and I'm really glad that I did, because I was really thinking about taking Kid Icarus basically instead of Kidku. So
obviously like not a meta relevant deck currently.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important that you play this over Icarus instead? Because you kept saying that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think, there were some matchups. There was one specific matchup, which is Fuse Zamasu. That's set 7 Fuse Zamasu, which I actually saw top at some other tournaments. That's becoming a little more relevant because what are you going to play in Kid? You're going to play your Bergama's going in your energy. Now, like if they Tragedy Underground you, like you can't play Fu Shrouded, can't play your, this card, SS4 Bardock Fighting Against Fate, can't play that. Like there's a lot of your win conditions are now gone. So with this, your win condition's a unison as opposed to like a battle card, so it doesn't just go straight into your energy. But that's why I felt like, I'm pretty sure I would have lost that Fuse Zamasu player if I would have been playing Kid Icarus, I suppose. And then you also, I mean, hand control you don't really got to worry about as Kid Icarus either. You're drawing like 16 cards anyways.
So changes you'd make, anything?
The change that I would definitely make is Fu Shrouded, definitely going in the sideboard, and I would put in Fighting Against Fate instead.
So extra swings are definitely relevant here.
Yeah, because warping your drop area is not as big of a deal as before because you have Universe 4 Assemble. That's why I run 4 of them, because I was working with different Overwhelm cards. I'm kind of upset that I decided on Fu Shrouded and Mystery. It was not the call.
Yeah.
So I definitely do that. I do like the Son Goku, having access to true Fighting Spirit Son Goku, where they have to warp a card every single time they counter, really helps the deck along. Because before, when you'd be playing, people just be negating left and right and you couldn't really do anything about it. You just kind of had to take it, all the floodgates, but at least now they're having to do something about it. I would actually bring a sideboard. I think the only things that were relevant in my sideboard were 3 Koitsukai. Those are the only... Those are literally the only things that I actually had, and then like 3 Black Mass Saiyan, which I did sideboard in Black Mass Sand, and Koitskai. I did have the Jiren for Android 17, but I ended up not seeing an Android 17 all day, so then that was cool. But yeah, like right now, this can do well. It's not gonna like break the meta, but it is a good rogue pick. If people aren't thinking about it, you can do pretty well, as you said.
Yeah.
Like as like, this deck got 5th place.
Yeah, man. So yeah, congratulations again. Any shout outs you want to give?
Shout outs to Team Dirty Decks, the freaking squad. We rolled through super deep. I think we had like 7 people in there, and then 4 out of 7 of us got top 8. So we just like 50% of that top 8 was us, which felt really good. And then
if you guys didn't know this too, the other 3 did top 16. So
oh yeah, the other 3 got top 16.
Crazy. So like they were just on the outside looking in.
Yeah. So very fun tournament. Shout outs to Dice Addiction. We've gone to 2 of their tournaments. That tournament is always a blast. They always do pretty good judging. The event moves along pretty well. I don't got any sponsors, but you know, if you want to sponsor me, I'm down. Shout outs to everybody who plays Dragon Ball Super, keeping the community alive, because this isn't as big of a game as like Magic the Gathering or anything like that. But it is the funnest card game that I have played thus far. So take it easy.